everyone, and welcome to the June edition of the Data Ed series. I'm going to take that once again. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the June edition of the Digital Edge series. For those joining us for the very first time, the Digital Edge series is a monthly webinar experience hosted every last Thursday of the month, where we bring together industry experts, innovators, and thought leaders to share valuable insights on navigating today's evolving digital landscape. Be sure to stay connected with us across all social platforms at Legacy Lab NG on Twitter, YouTube, and LinkedIn, so you never miss an update, future session, or opportunity. Before we dive in, let's check the energy in the room. Kindly send an emoji in the chat to let us know you're active and ready for tonight's session. Kindly send an emoji. All right, I can see we are very much active. I go by the name Omomi and I'll be your host for this evening. As always, at the X series, we love to give our speakers a warm and energetic welcome. So I introduce to you our you know the drill. Why the speaker is being introduced? Let the emojis keep popping up. Like let it keep flying. We have an amiable, an experienced speaker for us tonight, and he goes by the name Mr. Segun Sanusi. And he is going to be telling you more about himself when it comes aboard. I don't want to I don't want to drop all the teas. So this night our topic is beyond the visuals, and he'll be enlightening us on building a brand identity that drives reputation and revenue. You are highly welcome on board, sir. Kindly take the mic.
Yeah, thank you so much. I like that introduction, and I like the way you pronounced my last name. Very sound. Okay. My name is Segun Sanusi, like she rightly said. And I own a brand company here in Nigeria. Here. I do branding for a living, and it's always a pleasure when I get to meet and speak to people about branding. So I'm glad we are here today again to speak on this, and I look forward to discussing, with everyone here on our topic. Basically, I have a note somewhere. I don't know if I can share that document. Kindly hold on, please.
Put on. What is this one?
Okay, I don't know if you can see my screen, the one I shared. Please, can you see my screen?
Yes, your screen is visible.
Okay, thank you so much. So I'll go straight into a discussion, which is beyond the visuals, building a brand identity that drives reputation and revenue. So looking at the topic itself, we have major subject there. Um, One is beyond the visuals. Then the second one is brand identity. Then we have revenue, we have reputation. These four things are basically interwoven. It means that they work hand in hand, to ensure that a business makes money. So let's go to the overview. Brand identity is often mistaken for just a logo or a color palette. This session shifts the focus to the strategic foundation of branding. It explores how a cohesive brand identity shapes public perception, builds lasting trust, and ultimately drives business growth and reputation in a competitive digital landscape. So at the end of the the session, I expect everyone to be able to understand the critical differences between a brand a brand identity and a logo. Then also to learn how to align visual elements with businesses to value business core values and messaging. Then three, to discover strategies for using a brand identity to build and protect a strong market reputation. Then the last thing is to identify actionable steps to audit and elevate your current brand identity. So let's go straight to the discussion. So now let's go with differentiating a brand, its identity and logo. Now, I want you to think of this whole thing like an human being. The brand is the person's reputation. The identity is what they wear and how they speak, while the logo is their face. You understand? So for the brand is basically what people feel. You know, when you mention a brand, when you go somewhere and you just mention your brand, it should reflect what people feel about it. The brand is is the intangible. Hello, can we unmute our mic, please? Okay, so basically, the brand is what people feel. It's is the intangible emotional perception people have of a company. It is not something you can touch. It exists only in the minds of your customer. You understand? So this thing is not something that you feel yourself. It is what your customer feel. It is what people from the outside. It is what they feel. It is not basically what you think. You can think your brand is the best is the best in the world, and is not even close to being the best in the world. So your own thinking of your business is quite different from what people feel about your business, and the actual sense reflect what people feel. It is what your customer feel about you, or a random person feeling about your business. That is the actual, brand that you represent. So it is a company's reputation. It is the emotional connection with customers. It is what people say about you when you are not in the room. Like we said, it is what those customers feel, not yourself or not your staff. Your brand identity must be an honest reflection of your core business values. When your external visual perfectly aligns with your internal actions, you build an unstoppable reputation. Reputation is the ultimate competitive advantage because it cannot be copied by a competitor overnight. It creates an emotional bond that turns casual buyers into a loyal community. Yes. So basically, this is actually something that is very emotional because the way you let's say carry your business is the same way people will feel about it and the same value they will place on your business. So that is why it is important to take this thing into um good action. So number two is brand identity. The brand identity is what is those things people see. You know, your feeling is different from what you see. You cannot see, yeah, what you feel, you understand? Because they are perception, you understand? They are just thinking, they are what you not physical touch, right? But something you feel in your head, in your brain. But your identity is what people see, your color, your logo, your designs, your vehicles, your building, you understand? Those are things that are tangible that people see. The brand identity is the collection of tangible designs elements that the company creates to portray the right image to its audience. It is the visual system of a company. It includes photography, color palette, and photography styles. It includes non-visual elements like tones of voice and messaging. So these are things that people can actually see that represent your business. So let's go to the logo. The logo is just simple. It's just it's like a sublet or subunit of your identity. A logo is part of your identity. It is not different from it. But because of how important a logo is in a business, we tend to give it more attention than other things that are included in the brand identity. So your logo is a graphic mark or emblem used to aid and promote instant public recognition. It is just one single element within the larger brand identity. It is a shortcut for identification. It does not sell the company directly, but it identifies it. It is the most visible anchor symbol of the brand. Yes, that is it. Your logo is just for identification. When people see your logo, they should be able to understand what you do in particular. So these three things are just interwoven, like we said earlier. They are elements that work together to ensure that a business grows. You understand? So they don't work independently; they work together to ensure the success of a business. So let's move straight to the next part of the session, which is aligning your visual elements with your core business values. So many businesses make the mistake of creating visual based purely on aesthetics. They pick a color because it looks nice or a font because it is trendy. But graphic design without strategic intent is just decoration. To build a powerful brand, every single visual element must act as a direct translation of your core values and messaging. Yes, this is because sometimes when you want to create a logo for a business, you need to look into what your business does first. Take, for example, everybody is aware that if you want to go into, let's say, fashion designing, the kind of font you use for a logo for a fashion design brand is different from when you want to go into a real estate brand. You understand? So these little differences makes the whole thing looks very uniform because if you are going to a certain business, the colors you use is like you going into agriculture. You understand? For everybody going into farming, everybody understand that okay, you have to use a certain color for your logo because it reflects what your business is doing. You understand? For a farm, you should use green because it represents that particular thing. You understand? So this thing, gives us a leverage on how people can identify our business. So the first step here is establishing the strategic foundation. Before a designer ever touches a canvas, you must be able to establish the psychological foundation. You cannot align visual to value if you haven't explicitly defined those values first. As leaders or strategists, your first task is to distill the business identity down to its essence. You need three things: three immutable core values, which is trust, innovation, and sustainability; a clear vision statement; three personality adjective that defines the tone and voice. This document becomes the ultimate truth. If a visual choice doesn't match these words, it doesn't belong to the brand. Then the step two is the psychology of visual codes. Once the foundation is set, we move into the transition phase. Human beings are hardwired to decode visual stimuli instantly and subconsciously. We use three primary tools to trigger the right psychological response. One is the color theory, the second thing is typography, the third thing is geometry and shapes. So I've mentioned this thing earlier because your color, if you are going into a certain business, you should understand the kind of color to use for your logo. Then for typography, of course, the kind of font you use for a fashion brand is quite different from what you use when you are going into even agriculture or real estate. So there are so many websites that you can go to check the differences between some of these fonts and the best fonts to use as well as the colors. So the step three is translating message into assets. Case A, if your value is transparency, your visual system should be open, minimal layout. These are just basically generic stuff. You understand? You should be able to interpret what you want to do for your own business. You understand? So the case B here is if your value is innovation, your system should leverage both color contrast, futuristic or custom typography, and abstract, forward moving shapes. Then case three, if your value is heritage, you would utilize muted, timeless color palette, classic borders, and traditional editorial layout. So these are just generic things that you need to put into consideration when you are about to start a business. And let me remind us that all of these things that we are seeing, they are just gentle reminders of what we already know. I believe for a business owner or for someone going into a certain business, these are the first thing you need to even do, even before you even register that business as an entity. You understand? Before you do your trademark, before you register with the Corporate Affairs Commission, before you even open a bank account or do anything, these are the first thing you need to do because for you to identify a name for your business, you have to go through some of these steps. You understand? So basically, these are the very first thing you need to do before, because some people will just carry their phone and just go to CSC websites and register a business without thinking properly or having a second thought on why they've chosen and what purpose does that name serve. So basically, these are the first thing you need to do is, first of all, check for the name, get available logos, your brand elements, make sure that it aligns with your vision, and make it and visualize it. That is the simple thing. So step 4 is consistency. Finally, alignment means nothing without execution. The ultimate goal of this process is to codify this decision into a mandatory brand style guide. This document protects the brand assets by enforcing strict rules for: one, logo placement, exact color palette, font hierarchy, image guidelines. So these are just basic things that as a graphic designer, I know every business owner is not a graphic designer, but a business owner should be able to understand why a graphic designer is using a certain color for his particular for a particular logo. You understand? So these are just a basic thing that you should have at the back of your mind while setting up your business, your brand. You understand? So when your visual perfectly match your value, you eliminate cognitive dissonance for the customer. You create a brand that doesn't just look good; it feels authentic. Before we go to the next page, this last line is very important. There are some logos today that you see when you see some colors, you understand. Take for example on a billboard, like subconsciously you even know the kind of brand, you know the name of that brand. You understand? Even before paying attention, you already know that, okay, this is Pepsi, this is Coca-Cola, this is UBA. Because of the color alone, you know these things. You understand? If you see a UBA logo or a UBA kind of color, there are sometimes, even myself, because I look at designs a lot, even while driving on the road or while in a cab or on a bike. When I look at billboards, I look at 90% of the time I'm on the road, I look at billboards, signage, posters, anything. Sometimes when I see certain colors, I feel it is a certain bank, which is not. I have to look twice before I understand that, okay, this is not UBA. I thought it was UBA because that's the exact color UBA uses. Because that is brand identity. That is what we are talking about here. When people see certain billboards, they automatically know that, okay, this particular billboard belongs to Zenith Bank. This one belongs to Alert by Wema. This one belongs to OPay. You understand? Even if you don't see the logo, you don't see the full logo, you are very far, you understand, okay, this is OPay, this is PalmPay, this is, you understand? If you see PalmPay's purple, this thing, if you see some purple billboard, you can even think, okay, is this PalmPay? Okay, this is not PalmPay. That is a brand identity. It is what every business should, put into consideration. So now, using brand identity to build the brand. Identity is a passive tool until it is strategically deployed. To turn an identity into an asset, we must execute four core strategies. One, the consistency engine, which is building cognitive is through repetition. I advise people to repeat things. When you know that this thing is your brand, repeat it as much as you can. Nobody will arrest you for repeating your starting element. The reason why you repeat is just to ensure that you are forcing this thing down the throat of your viewers. When you enforce this thing, it becomes part of them. When they see those certain signs, they understand that, okay, this thing belongs to this person. This thing is this thing. That thing is that thing. So repeating some elements on your designs, on your brand materials, you understand, it is important. It is not bad. If you know that, okay, your font is this certain font, maybe Monument or anything or Mustard. If you know that, okay, this font is your font, try to repeat it as much as you can, because this thing builds your brand. Those are part of your brand identity. You understand? So it is something that you need to work on. Repeat as much as you want. Nobody would arrest you for repeating a certain thing. The goal is to build brand recognition through repetition, and the strategy enforce absolute visual uniformity across every single touch point. Whether a customer opens an email, look at a billboard, visit the website, or unboxes a product, the experience must look like it came from the exact same author. And the result is consistency breeds familiarity, and familiarity breeds predictability, and predictability builds customers' trust. And trust is a very important thing in this when it comes to brand identity. So the second thing is strategic differentiation. Yeah, try as much as possible to be different from a competitor. You understand? Don't be too close to your competitor when it comes to brand elements, colors, font, design arrangements. You understand? Just try as much as possible to be different. In any crowded marketplace, looking like your competitor is commercial suicide. Brand identity is your primary weapon for differentiation. The goal is to establish a different brand asset that cannot be confused with rivals. And the strategy is conduct a marketing audit. If every competitor in your industry uses blue to signal trust, your strategy must be able to use deep purple or vibrant orange to signal destructive innovation. And the result is you move the business away from a price war and position it as a unique premium alternative in the customer's mind. So this thing is very important. The first one is to always repeat, because when you repeat things, it gives familiarity. You understand? And the second one is try to be different from your competitor. Don't be too close to your competitor when it comes to brand identity. Then the third one is emotional scaling. That's your community and loyalty. For a business owner, the first people that you have are your loyal customers. They are not loyal because you have a very good product. Let me tell you this thing. They are not loyal to you because you have a very good product. They are loyal to you because you are their friends. You are their church member. You are their community. You are their neighbor. You are their, maybe you guys have a picnic every Friday evening. You understand? Those set of people are very important for your business because they help you grow. They are not loyal to you because they've tested your product and it's the best. You understand? Your product might not be the best, but this set of people are loyal, your community. They are your loyal people because of the emotional attachment they have with you. They are very important for your business. The goal is to move customers from transactional buyers to brand advocates. Yes, use identity elements like human-centric photography, storytelling videos, and community-driven messaging to mirror the target audience personal identity. Your identity should make the customer feel like this brand understand who I am. The result is the customers don't just buy the product, they integrate the brand into their personal lifestyle, driving long-term retention and lifetime value. So like we said earlier, and I want to repeat this goal, you move your customers from being transactional buyers to brand advocates. They will be the one even selling your brands for you, marketing your brands for you for free. You understand? Because of the emotional attachment they have with your brand. So I hope I'm making sense. If you have question, is it important that we have questions now, or probably after the whole thing? Which one is better?
When you are done, sir, we are going to have the question session. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much for that. So let's move straight to the next page, which says, how can your brand impact your revenue? I think this is like this last phase of the whole thing. How can your branding impact your revenue? Basically, your branding has a role to play when it comes to sales, because sometimes and recently people really don't sell what they produce. They rather sell the brand that they've been able to set up with with their sweat and all that. And looking at, take for example, let's take um housing as an example, real estate as an example. The reason why I don't know, let me use Ondo State for an example. When you go to Alagbaka and you go to a place like Owode, the price for land in those two locations are quite different. Not because one land is superior to the other, but because of the kind of value that has been placed on those locations. One is GRA and one is a normal local community, you understand? So it is not because the land is bigger than one another, but because of the value that has been placed on one apart from the other. So that's just a simple analogy. So how can your branding impact your revenue? One is excellent service delivery. When you understand that your branding is your business, you need to, put excellent service delivery as one of your points of reference when it comes to your business. Then second is brand growth and popularity. Because your brand is popular, it tends to, be of much value. You understand? So I think popularity equals, improved or higher price. You understand? It might not really mean that you are producing or you are using more money to produce, but because of the popularity will bring demand. And sometimes for businesses, it is important to always understand demand and supply, which is the third one. When you understand demand and supply, you understand that, okay, fine, you don't just supply your products anyway. You have to understand that, okay, fine, if your demand, you have to make sure your supply and demand are not far from each other. Because when your supply is more than your demand, then it makes your products very, it makes it all over the place, and which might affect the value of that product over a long period of time. So sometimes you need to even do artificial scarcity. You understand? You need to do it. You need to hold your product, because when you hold your product, it gives it more value. You have to do it with sense, though. It's not that when you do it and you drive your customers to go and purchase or to patronize other competitors. You understand? You do it with sense. You understand? Okay, this thing. There's a way you do it. You understand? So the fourth here is trust. Earlier we mentioned trust. Trust is something that is important, because trust is that thing that drives your business. It drives retention. It drives improved patronage. When your customers can trust you, then that's the height of it. That means that even when you are not in the best of your best situation, your customers will still trust your product. Then also professionalism is also one of those things that would help to impact your revenue. Branding means professionalism. When you're able to set up your branding and your your strategies, that means you are very professional with what you do. When you get the visual and the reputation right, revenue is a natural byproduct. You no longer have to beg for sales or enter brutal price wars with with your competitors. You charge a premium because of your value. You spend less on ads because people already love you. You build long-term wealth because your customers keep coming back. The first one is you charge premium because of, yes, when your product is of value, you charge more and people will buy because your product is premium. You have added value to your product because of your branding strategies that you've deployed before during your business. So you spend less on ads again, because and when you spend less on that ads, it means that you are not spending too much money on things that are not very important. I know ads is very important, but because it's very important for all businesses. But if you can limit, your spending on ads, then it helps to increase your profit at the end of the day. Then you build long-term wealth because your customers keep coming back. Yes, that's more profits. If your customers keep coming back, that's more profit for your business, and that's improvement. As the next generation of entrepreneurs, marketers, and creators, challenge yourself to think bigger than just looking cool on social media. Designs, designs with a strategic purpose. Build an identity that has a pulse, a voice, and a soul. When you build a brand that goes beyond the value, you aren't just creating a pretty design, you are building an economic powerhouse that commands respect, drives massive revenue, and at last the trend. This particular part is as straightforward as anything, because as entrepreneurs, marketers, or creators, it's I well, and it is there are some businesses that I know everybody is aware. There are some businesses that you can look very cool on social media, but you are not really driving sales because you have not been able to deploy all of these strategies together. You understand? You have not been able to deploy all of these strategies together. And mind you, there are more stuffs that has to do with digital marketing, that has to do with sales, that has to do with setting up your businesses. What we've discussed today is not the entirety that will make your business sell. You understand? This is just a part of it that will make your business sell. So after this whole time, it is important for us to also look into it ourselves. Go to your browsers, check for this particular subject matter, read about it, and understand the next step. For you to actually understand your business and how to make more revenue for your business. Understand? So all of these things, they work hand in hand. Sales, especially, is something that is broad. You understand? Branding is just a part of sales. Sales is broader, and that sales is something that is very important. You need to look into it. Maybe I would inform the organizers of this particular session to probably do sales maybe some other time, so that we can all understand what sales is all about, because sales is very important. It's very broad and also very important for our business. So I think I'll pause now for questions and observation regarding this topic, and we can go on from there. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Shegun. Tonight was like very impactful. Thank you so much. Please, can we give him a round of applause? Can we just celebrate him? Thank you, everybody. I can't see our emojis though. Thank you so much, Mr. Shegun. Okay, I think I learned a whole lot of things, and I jotted during your session as a business owner whose business is just growing. I think there are some like challenges that has been there, and a lot of things that I had to unlearn, and I had to like relearn new things while you were speaking. Okay, so I'm just going to give room for questions now. If you have a question, kindly unmute your mic and speak up so you can attend to your question. Thank you very much. All right, then you can go on, Sulaimon. You can unmute.
All right. Thank you very much. Among good evening, everyone. Mr. Segun Sanusi, thank you very much for the speech, the lessons, and the class in general. Well, my question is a straightforward one. As an head of operations, well, I can't really do this brand designing and strategy on my own practically. Um, Can you kind of probably give us kind of a list of what we should expect from a proper brand strategist if you were to employ one, or to give someone the contract of a brand design and strategy? I don't know if you understand. Like, how would I know that okay, this brand design and strategist has actually completed and has actually hit the kind of milestone it's supposed to hit? Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you so much. I think I get the question. You asking me that, what do you expect from a brand strategist, regarding a particular brand that you're trying to set up, right? Or if you employ a brand strategist, what are those things that you expect him to do, right? All right. So basically, like we said earlier, your brand strategy is your headlights. Is your headlight. Is someone who understand your image and how you should appear to the public. So if you are hiring a brand strategist, if you want to hire me now, there are some things that is my responsibility. You understand? Take for example, your brand purpose, your vision and mission, as statements, and making sure they align with whatever you do, with your brand value. You understand? Some of those things are things that is expected from a brand strategist. Your logo designs, how to ensure that your logo aligns with what you do. You understand? Then ensuring that your um public image is well protected. What I mean is, for every design you do, right, for every flyer you do, that flyer should represent what you are. And like we said earlier, it should ensure that your that strategy of repetition is strictly followed, because when you follow those strategy, it gives a leverage. It makes the customer or your viewers to understand you better and to always see you. Even by your color, they know this is you. You understand? So those things are many more are what should be expected from a brand strategist, in any business. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Shegun. I don't know if the person who asked the question got his answer. Like, are you satisfied with what you heard? Or do you need him to explain further?
Yeah, well, I would have loved a kind of probably a kind of a list. Yeah, probably something like a success matrix. The brand strategy should be able to accomplish at the end of the contract. Probably would say, okay, by the end of the contract, your customers, if provided you your probably your media team is able to execute this the brand strategy plan you've proposed. So a kind of success metric is okay, provided the team is okay, you'd be able to add in so based on the kind of branding I've been able to establish for you. I don't know. Kind of, do you understand what I'm trying to say?
Mr. Shegun, do you have a solution for us? As a
Yeah, basically, I think I understand his own point, but sometimes we overwork our brand strategy with too many work. Take for example, the work of a brand strategy is different from the work of a sales or a marketer. You understand? The work of a brand strategy stops at your image. You understand? Even when it gets to protecting your image, there are people that we call what do we call them now? Um, um, Let me get the name. Um, there are these people that protect, you understand, that protect your image in public. You understand? So the work of a strategy ends when your business is fully up and it gives a certain framework for you to work with. You understand? Because of course you may not be able to hire a brand strategist for a long period of time. You just need him to set up the business, the whole thing for you, and to give you a framework for you to continue on. You understand? So that is where his work stops. You understand? It doesn't need to be with you for 10 years. You understand? I'm not of the opinion because you are wasting your money. But he has to help you set up your business to a certain level where you have other team members who can pick it up from there, from your sales to personally your damage that helps you control your whatever public image you have, to your operations, to your normal staff. You understand? To your marketer. You understand? To your social media manager. You understand? Those work are not the work of a brand strategy. They are not, even your graphic designer, you understand, you may decide to change a graphic designer today. You understand? So that framework he has given to you is what you now give to your designer. That okay, this is what we've been doing. These are the elements we have. These are brand guide. Follow these things strictly. You understand? He has done his own work by giving you all of these things, and your own work is to ensure that your business continue to to idolize whatever he has given to you. You understand? So that is my own suggestion regarding what you asked.
Thank you, Mr. Shegun. Okay, I think I would accommodate one more question before we call it a night. I don't know if anyone has. Okay, someone is raising his hand. You can unmute your mic. Thank you.
All right. So, good evening, Mr. Good evening, Mr. Shegun. So,
Good evening,
I
sir.
want to ask, what is the most important thing I should do when building my brand? Should I focus more on the logo or the message or on the customer experience? Which one do you think I should focus more on? Like, I should put more efforts in. Should I put more efforts in the customer experience or the logo or the adverts? Yeah, like that.
Yeah, thank you so much for that wonderful question. I think it is a global knowledge that it is important to put effort in your customer experience. That's the most important thing for you, because customer experience will drive retention. You understand? That is what will bring customers back to you. So your experience is when your logo is set. They are all important, or they are equally important, all of the three things you mentioned. But I think what will make your business go on and on is your customer experience. That is what I think we should all focus on. Then, because the logo is a one-time thing, it's something that is, you can use a logo for 10, 20 years before you say you want to rebrand. You understand? So a logo is important, but your user experience, your customers' experience is something that you should put all your effort on to ensure that your customers are satisfied. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Shegun. Okay, you're raising your hand again. All right, just have 1 minute to
Okay,
ask a question. Thank you.
okay. I have a question. Mr. Shegun spoke about, first of all, Mr. Shegun, thank you for this. Um, Actually, it's my time for my gym, but I said I have to attend this because whenever Shegun speaks, there is something someone must speak from this. But my question is, you said something about brand conflict, color conflict with your competitor. He said, try as much as possible to be different from your competitor. Don't try to copy them. So the question here is, if you look at Coca-Cola and Big Cola, Coca-Cola and Big Cola, you realize that they have so much similarity in terms of brand color from their bottles. If Coca-Cola do orange for for Fanta, Big Cola will also do orange. If they do black for Coke, they also do black. Don't you think that's also a brand strategy for, let's say, for a company that is also trying to hit the market, for a company that is also trying to break into a market, for instance? Don't you think it's a strategy? And don't you think um, it also helps the bigger brand also to identify them more in the market? Don't you think, or do you think it's a total disadvantage to the both party? That's my question.
Thank you so much. I think I would love to introduce Tijani to you guys. Mr. Tijani is my partner. He's my very good friend. He's a partner, and it's a pleasure to have him around here. Mr. Tijani, thank you so much for coming
Thank you, Mr.
today.
Shegun.
Thank you so much. Yeah, to your question, Big Cola and Coca-Cola. For me, I feel like the manufacturer of Big Cola, they understand one thing. That is my personal opinion now. And that thing is that they will always be at the shadow of Coca-Cola. They will never top Coca-Cola. And that is what they are prepared for. They understand they understand what they are doing. You understand? To me, they are not even competitive. They are not they are not being competitive. I think they enjoy being at the shadow or behind Coca-Cola's brand, because you can't compare, because looking at even at compare Big Cola and Coca-Cola, they are not even same. They might be same with the look of their product, but when you taste the product, it's totally different. You can easily differentiate Coca-Cola from Big Cola. So I think the manufacturer, and even looking at the pricing, that's another factor. Big Cola is always cheaper than a Coca-Cola product, you understand? So I feel like they understand the business and they understand what they want. They always want to be that second option kind of thing. We always want to be the second option. Okay, if you don't have money for, it's like a hen. It's like this Techno, Itel, and Infinix, you understand? They are all from the same parent company, right? But those people, they understand that, okay, people might not be able to afford Techno. If they cannot afford Techno, then they should be able to buy Infinix. And if they cannot afford Infinix, then they should be able to afford Itel, you understand? So this kind of thing is something that I feel is not really bad. And it only work if you understand that you want to be at the shadow or just a second option for a certain product. They are not on par. You understand? They can never be on par, but they just exist in their own particular lane. You understand? So that is my own personal opinion regarding that thing you raised. So, and even looking at the availability, what's it called? Big Cola is restricted to certain. I'm not sure they are outside of Nigeria or Africa. You understand? So if the Coca-Cola is a global brand, Big Cola exists just to eat a little crumbs from the table. You understand? So I feel they are not on par, they are not competitors, and they can never be competitors. You understand? Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Thank,
sir.
thank you so much, Mr. Tijani, for asking such a sound question, because I really learned from everything that you were able to ask to. And Mr. Oluwasegun, thank you so much for dissecting those questions to our minimum understanding. Really appreciate you. Okay, so we have come to the end of today's session, and I must say that it was indeed value packed. And I must sincerely appreciate everyone that came on board tonight. Thank you so much. I definitely know that you coming on board here is not the same person going back. At least you've learned one or two things that you should be able to put into your branding and whatever it is that you might be doing in your field. I'm very sure that everything that Mr. Shegun said on this call tonight really resonated with each and every one of us, irrespective of what we might be doing, irrespective of the niche that we might be. A special shout out to Mr. Shegun again. Please, can we give him a round of applause? Thank you so much, Mr. Shegun. Like I said earlier, we have come to the end of tonight's session. A special thanks to our valued partners, Outnovately Africa, GDG on Campus Exu, Foyer Boesti, which is in Ikere, Mr. Omoson Jua Joseph, and Miss Esther Folorusho for their invaluable support. Thank you so much. There is a message for everyone in the chat box. Your feedback helps us improve Digital Edge series. Please share your experience via our survey. There's a link here where you can share your experience of how this meeting tonight blessed you and really impacted you. So I would love every one of us to kindly go to the message area and just click on the link, give us your feedback. We want to know. And again, we also and include your emails too, so you can receive the recording session when they're out, in case you want to visit them later, maybe due to network or due to you being distracted during the session, you were not able to get one of the informations that were shared. Again, you can join our WhatsApp community and stay connected to receive updates. The link is also in the chat box. Thank you everyone again. So stay tuned for our next session as we continue to deliver practical conversations at the intersection of technology, creativity, and the future of work. Thank you so much, and a special shout out to Mr. Adefemi Adeomi. Please, can we clap for Mr. Adefemi? Thank you, sir, for always putting this together. We appreciate you. So we have come to the end of tonight's session. Don't forget that Digital Edge series holds every last Thursday of each month. So feel free to join us. It's going to be an impactful session always. Bye, everyone. Good night.